is Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop. I don't know why I'm obsessed about this, right? I want my bobble, she cried, on the side. I don't like the backward bobble, right? The backward bobble doesn't work for me. I like the side bobble. Should I try the other side? See how everything's opposite. Is this side? That's good too. That's good too. I don't like the back bobble, right? I do not like the backward bobble. I like the side bobble. Anyway, this is the only time of year I'm ever in any way this vain. It's crazy. Anyway, as I said, I digress. They say a coward dies many times over, but a brave person, a brave man, only one. Is it brave man or brave person? Probably brave man, but you can say brave person, I guess. A brave person only once. And we see that many times over. We see that being repeated over and over again. How do we see that? Well, we have this thing called the media. The media used to be great, right? We used to have this like really respectable thing, which was like newspapers where they would research things and they would tell you what's happening. And if people in power would try to hide what's happening, the newspapers, they were defiant, right? They defiant, and they were the advocate for the common man. They had to keep the people informed. And then people found out, it's really easy just to pay them lots of money to say whatever you want, right? Say whatever you want. I think it takes that kind of like moral failing, right, that to be able to sell yourself out, which also kind of defines one as a coward. Anyway, so how have we seen them die over and over again? Well, they've been fibbing a lot, right? They've been fibbing a lot. They say, this is the best time ever in entertainment. Oh my God, comic books are selling more than ever. Doctor Who's so successful. Oh my God, Star Wars is making another series. They must be doing so well. Oh, look at Star Trek Discovery. They can't make 5 seasons of that without people loving it. Turns out, like every freaking thing else, they were lying. They were lying about everything, and it's basically all falling apart right now. It's kind of fun, but at the same time, I have a nagging suspicion that just as genre was a canary in the mine for the I would say the attempted destruction of the Western world, maybe somewhat successful destruction of the Western world. We saw it first here, right? We saw it in comic books. We saw it in genre. I think maybe we might be seeing the complete dissolution of the Western world before everybody else. I'm a Bible thumper. I can always describe myself as that. I'm quite happy to describe myself because it's kind of true. And I pass everything through my theological worldview. So if you're not new to my channel, I thought this is the end of days, right? Which is actually kind of a good thing, right? And because after the end of days, you have like a nice messianic time where we all are nice to each other. Imagine Christmas every day, right? We're basically just nice to each other and not. Could you imagine? Okay, could you imagine if we all said, "How about this? We won't fight each other, and we could just we all mutually could get rid of all military." Do you imagine how much more money we would all have? It will be crazy, right? It will be absolutely crazy. But again, I understand that's pie in the sky, right? I do understand that's pie in the sky. So, I always said this was the end of days, and I was, and I have been expecting, I still am to some degree, some messianic, like breathtaking world event. Now, I don't doubt it'll be supernatural. Kind of like if you saw Chris Eccleston's The Second Coming. Tell you, I've never received a miracle of the Second Coming. Nobody's been able to wake me up. Okay, but the Chris Eccleston show, the Second Coming, something like that, right? Something like that, but I think less supernatural. Now I'm kind of like veering to the opinion we're about to enter like a 7-year famine, like they did in Egypt in the Old Testament, which I use as antecedent for everything, right? So we're looking at all this like really heavy stuff that's supposed to be going down over winter, the fuel crisis, food crisis. They said it was coming, right? They said it was coming, and could it last for years and years and years, and we all live in poverty? Could be, right? Could be, right? Things look grim, but not to the people who created this reality. Those little scamps in the media. They put on their rose-tinted spectacles, and they're like, "Oh, this is fantastic." But I do think the the obvious failure of the things they clearly lied about over and over and over again is making them snap, right? It's just cracking their little minds. We got a few articles to look at here, essentially going, oh my God, everything is awesome, and it's always been awesome. We're fantastic. We weren't wrong about everything, and everybody's happy with us. We're the bestest. We are the bestest ever. Yeah, we're fantastic. And of course, they're lying. Mainly to themselves. Fine, before we get to all this stuff, like, share, subscribe, comment. All those things are fantastic, baby. Fan-dammy double dozy. As I said, look, the apocalypse, when I say apocalypse, everybody thinks of like nuclear bombs. I'm just thinking of us all, living without electricity. That sort of thing, because we can't afford it, because we're pros. I laugh, but up until then, hit the subscribe button, would you? Because there's nothing feels you good as a good subscription. That might really help you out. So hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the share button. Everybody should get a bit of the Rabbi, right? I don't want to hold myself back. She cried. But again, don't expect a second coming. I like to sleep. The funny thing is, I'm not lying about any of this. Like, share, subscribe, comment, sign up to my Substack in the video notes, right? It's in my email newsletter where you'll be able to find me. And again, well, money is worth basically nothing. Sign up to my paid Substack. It was $5 a month. You get basically nothing for it, but you're gonna feel great about yourself. You're gonna feel fan-freaking-tastic about yourself. You are gonna get something for it, okay? You are getting something. I just feel bad that I don't put out enough stuff. You are getting something for it. Follow me on Instagram. Instagram is I'm quite enjoying a bit of Instagram. Actually, I found out how to fix a problem I was having with Instagram. Turned out, right, when I put a reel on, this is like, I would condense the video from like 100 meg down to 20 meg, right? And then put it on my phone, so it'd be quicker to post. And I could never work out when I put the reel on. I had to like squeeze and enlarge it with my hands. I mean, listen, everything's got a sexual connotation. You got to pinch and zoom. I had to zoom it in because it only took up like a quarter of the screen. It's because I shrunk it down. If I do it at full size, it works fantastically. So there you go. I don't have to worry about. So if you notice my videos, my reels on Instagram, but sometimes a little bit like a little bit off. That's why, because I had to pinch and zoom. I cut my hand out. I have no idea how. There you go. Oh man, that's a big little cut. There you go. That doesn't make any sense. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, comment, Instagram, Substack. All those things are awesome. Let's look at this and heartily take the piss out of it, because I think that's what it's for, right? I think it's what it's for. 10 ways 2022 was a great year for Doctor Who. 2022 was an awesome year for Doctor Who because it ended the reign of stupidity that went from 2017 to 2022. Right, it was a fantastic year for Doctor Who. Jodie Whittaker went and was instantly forgotten, and we still have these articles trying to say, oh, Jodie Whittaker, oh, yeah, especially now at the end of the year. No, she's gone, she's forgotten, she's not coming back, and from what I guess, she's not being retconned out of existence, she's being recontextualized out of existence. Go and see my video I put out earlier this week. It seems to be the answer that fits everything. I think we're going to find out in some great cliffhanger moment that David Tennant's going to be facing off against Neil Patrick Harris, and Neil Patrick Harris says, "Don't be a fool, Doctor. You've been in my realm for decades." Dun 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 dun. It'll be basically the whole Jodie Whittaker era what took place in there. At least you'll be able to say that in one's headcanon, right? So it's great. I think it's nearly gone. So that was why it was a great year. I wonder if that's what they're going to be talking about. My guess is not. Now this is CBR. CBR are they worse than Radio Times? Yes, they're worse than Radio Times. I think are they owned by CBS? Right. Oh God, man. I mean, like, I think of the great newsmen of yesteryear, right? People who actually had integrity and when the news meant something. Now it's just like at best, it's establishment press releases. At worst, it's deep layers of misinformation upon misinformation designed to control you. And that's who CBR are, right? That's who they are. But I think they're on the discount division. By the way, this little picture we are shooting with the cloudy background, that's not real, apparently. That what's behind him is going to be a great big spoiler. So they can't show us. Probably the TARDIS. Do you think it's going to be the TARDIS? I don't know. TARDIS interior? Could well be. 10 Ways 2022 was a great year for Doctor Who. As 2020, I mean, it was also an awful year because right up until that last minute of... when did it even go out, that last Jodie Whittaker one, The Power of the Doctor? Oh, was it October? I think it was October. It must have been October. Right, so we had a good 10 months of misery, right, until that last minute, and boom, everything changed. Like, everything changed. David Tennant came back on. And honestly, I was never that big a David Tennant fan, but everything changed. That instant. By that first 10 months, bit of a write-off, all things considered. Like, lots and lots of not Doctor Who, and the Doctor Who we had was awful. As 2022, okay, fine, we're trying to... It's obvious Doctor Who has had a great year of announcement, plot twists, and reveals. Can we do a bit of another reveal on Millie? Man, okay, and I'm not exaggerating this. Whenever I put her on the thumbnails, I do a like a Google search. Millie Gibson today. There are so many pictures of her not wearing many clothes. Okay, there is a lot of them. And listen, if I looked as good as her, I would probably have a lot of pictures of me not wearing many clothes as well. Thankfully for all of you, I look. How would I explain myself? Naked, I'm kind of like, I'll tell you exactly what I'm like. Do you remember, what's the name? The guy from Futurama who's got like the crustacean and he loses his shell at one point. He's just like this globby, that's me, all right? That's me. Not Millie Gibson, right? Not Millie Gibson. Despite only airing 3 episodes in Doctor Who, that was actually one of their pluses, quite frankly. Doctor Who has a truly spectacular year. Jodie Whittaker left. Jodie's final installments in the lead of the role have delivered viewers on a wild ride of crashing ratings and critical panning, right? It's a wild ride of having your ass handed to you over and over and over again. How will Chris Chibnall describe his time in Doctor Who? I think he felt like he was ushered into down a red carpet where people were like throwing petals at his feet. Oh, Chris Chibnall was stunning and brave, best as ever. And then when he finally got in and set things up the way he wanted, he looked around and he was in a field full of rakes. And wherever he went, he went, boom, right in his face, boom, one in his face, boom, in his face, over and over and over again. No, there's nothing he could do that people didn't go, oh, that was awful. Do you remember Flux? Oh my God, man! Did he get his ass handed to him by the media over Flux? Right? The honeymoon period was very much over by that point. So yeah, well, that was a wild ride. Watching this production team get their ass handed to them over and over again, as they very much deserve to happen. As the show prepares for its promising future, well, you can't be like, as opposed to its dismal past, with their recent releases of the Doctor Who yearbook, Doctor Who 2020 yearbook, fans are sharing their favourite moments from 2022. What? Are they? That's in that yearbook? Okay. I mean, didn't they write that 6 months ago? I mean, is that a little premature? Well, let's see what they'll say. As the year draws to close, it's hard to deny Doctor Who has been among the biggest television events. Okay. The long-running sci-fi series has delivered an entertaining send-off for the Chibnall era. I'm actually going to agree with them, right? As they finally worked out, remove Jodie Whittaker from the screen under all circumstances, and it actually works out not bad. I mean, it's not good. I want to be clear. It's not good, but it's not Jodie Whittaker bad either, right? It's not good. And I would say that the Power of the Doctor was more entertaining than cringy, right? Again, didn't make any sense, right? Didn't make any bloody sense. Oh, I got my bubble. Bubbles on that side today. It didn't make any sense whatsoever. It was kind of stupid, full of potholes. But it zipped along, and you know, I like the Sacha Dhawan as Rasputin master. I thought the plot was very mastery. I like the Boney M Rasputin dance. I think that really worked. I kind of like even like the Cybermen and the Daleks like looking at each other like, what is he doing? I like that, right? I think it was fun, right? And however much I hate the Chibnall era, and I do, I think it's genuinely evil, much like, you know, things like CPR. Genuinely evil. I want to give credit where credit's due. It wasn't bad. You know, it wasn't like watching Fugitive of the Jadoon or Nikolai Tesla's Night of Terror, Night of Boredom, or like, it was awful! Is that the one with Angeli Mohindra as the Scorpion Queen? That was just embarrassing. I felt bad for her. I genuinely felt bad for her. I'm like, really? Really? This is where your life has come to? I mean, married to Sacha Dhawan. I mean, surely you should have got something better. Chimro. Opening the door for Rossley David Tennant's grand returns. Well, they opened the doors in that they completely, totally failed, destroyed Doctor Who in every freaking way, and then somebody had to come in and fix it. So, yeah, they opened the door that way. Number 10, the Sea Devils made their long-anticipated return, and how absolutely disappointing. I mean, that was. Obviously, it was a Jodie Whittaker story, but the costume was cheap, right? This whole special came across as cheap to me, right? I thought the Sea Devil costume was it wasn't that great, right? It wasn't that great. It was okay, but like this I think is the lead Sea Devil, and that would have been fine for one of the background ones. But you know, the face articulation was terrible. They should have done it by CGI maybe, or something. But it look, I don't think it was as bad as Warriors of the Deep, but equally, I don't think it really had anything to do with Sea Devils, right? They had a recent Christopher Eccleston one on Big Finish, which equally wasn't very good. It was dull, but at least that was with Sea Devils in. But at least they were in character. This was like, oh, we're Sea Devils and we're pirates now. Ha ha! Okay, and look, I'm rewatching a lot of the Christmas specials right now, and I do see how they go for like these like big, overblown, frothy, silly, crowd-pleasing things, which is what it was, you know, having the Sea Devils attack the pirates and, you know, really like sword fighting. But, you know, when you have somebody like Yaz, as nobody cares, right? As sword fighting Sea Devils, nobody cares. Everybody knows she's going to win because she's the bestest ever, and they can't show her looking weak in any way because they're so incredibly weak, right? They can't stand to look weak because they're so incredibly weak. But it wasn't very good. I'm sorry, it wasn't very good. It was the most it was the most excruciating episode to watch of 2022. Right, was it the most excruciating of Chibnall's final run of 9 episodes? No, there was a couple of episodes of Flux which were really bad, right? Which were really, really, really awful, which was worse than this. But this wasn't very good. This wasn't very good at all. Last seen in 1984's Warriors of the Deep, the Sea Devils have returned has long been requested by fans. Fortunately, I was going to say unfortunately, I thought they were accidentally going to tell the truth. Fortunately, Chris Chibnall responded to these demands with Legend of the Sea Devils, with the Silurians' aquatic cousins causing trouble for the Doctor and friends and more. I think the reason this one really failed is because it was trying, because it was plugged into the zeitgeist of the times, which is what Doctor Who really should be, right? Doctor Who should really be on the forefront of culture. And I think that's how it's always really, really worked very well. It's always been, that's why it's always been called. He had John Pertwee being very, very cool and James Bond-like, and they always said, "Oh, he's so sexy, he's so like James Bond." And I was watching that in the mid-80s, going, "What? What? The frilly shirts? That's sexy? Oh yes, super sexy. Like, how?" And then you have like Tom Baker, equally, because they're very, very, very contemporary, because it's plugged into the contemporary zeitgeist. So the contemporary zeitgeist that this episode was plugged into was that there was a fake story, right? A disinformation put out that Asians were being targeted by white supremacists, right? Asians were being targeted by white supremacists across America in retaliation for COVID, right? Because Donald Trump said there was Kung flu, right? Oh, God. Oh, where are my pearls to clutch? Oh, do you think Kung flu? And he said, "How dare you say it came from a lab in Wuhan just because it came from a lab in Wuhan," right? So anyway, that was the misinformation. The real story is this: that the left-wing politicians across America, and probably right-wing ones as well, lectured the low-income black population that they are being screwed over systemically by the patriarchy. And they looked over at their Asian cousins, right? Because I think we're all cousins. They looked over at Asian people and said, "Wait a minute, but they're also a minority, and they're doing very, very well. They dominate in higher education, and they're doing well. Must be the white male patriarchy is looking after the Asians." So it started this sea of black on Asian crime. It's terrible that I live in a world where there is this racial crime being baited by politicians. It's really genuinely disgusting that this is the universe that we live in. But that actually happened, right? And then so the same left-wing racist politicians then took the stats of Asian hate crimes going through the roof, ignored who was causing them, and said, "Oh, white supremacy," right? Which led Chris Chibnall to do an Asian-themed episode. That's why, right? And because it was based on this nonsense disinformation story, that's probably why it didn't really have much to it that failed. Also, he brought in a lesbian writer, so they could do the scene, so she could basically write the scene where said, oh, I want to scissor you in the TARDIS to Jodie. And Jodie's like, "Oh, but I can't, I'm too scared. Oh, I'm too scared. And I'm scared. I'm not brave at all." It's okay. And it just, not really much going on there. So everybody ended up hating this, right? It was a reasonably good idea. You're like, "Oh, Chinese pirates, that sounds fun. Sea devils, that sounds fun. Flying, galleons, oh, that all sounds fun. It's like, decent sci-fi budget. Oh, that sounds fun." And it just completely fell flat in its face because it was concerned with disinformation nonsense that wasn't real, right? And you can see that was what was driving it. It's really interesting. You can really see the motivations of everything when it hits screen. I was long pondering, what was my problem with Jeffrey Wright playing Commissioner Gordon, but not Lawrence Fishburne playing in that awful Batman movie, The Batman, and Lawrence Fishburne playing Perry White in the Superman movie. Well, again, both these are white characters changed to black characters. I thought, was it Perry White? Freaking awesome, right? That really worked, right? I thought it was fantastic. And Jeffrey Wright is a great actor. He should have been great as Commissioner Gordon. Didn't work at all. I just think you could tell the racism that motivated it, right? The falsehood and the racism that really poured it out. So on your first one, you're not really scoring high here. CBR. Okay, so last scene, Legend Sea Devils causing trouble with their cousins. Well, the Sea Devils' long anticipated comeback offers even more joyous swashbuckling adventure. With the creatures commandeering a pirate ship. I thought it was their pirate ship. That's why I had like flying bits on it. For Legend of the in China, 807 China is an action-packed outing for titular villains as they engage in some incredible sword fighting sequences. They were okay sword fighting. They were much, much better in The Curse of the Black Spot with Karen Gillan. Like, much, much, much better. With the Doctor and a gang. Oh, a gang of five. Yeah. No, this wasn't something to look back at the old rose-coloured glasses. So that's not. I thought I was going to get a few articles. I'm 25 minutes in. I've done one item. Okay, out of 10. Okay. Yes, this is why it was a good year for fans. Number 9, new companion was revealed. Can you please stop saying the word revealed with Millie Gibson? Right, and again, there's just so many photos of her wearing bikinis. It blows my mind. I don't think there was that many photos of young girls wearing bikinis in the world, and she looks stunning in literally every one of them. Right, it's incredible. As you are, Millie, as you are. But again, she's younger than my youngest son's girlfriend, who is younger than any of my kids. It's very, very creepy. What do you want out of me? Still, I'm only made of flesh and blood. But yes, this shows how 2022 was awesome. As soon as Jodie Whittaker and Chris Chibnall left, I mean, like, I get the elation that I had about having a normative, attractive human female. Again, who identified as a normative human female as companion. I was like, I can't believe it's a girl without a dick, right? I am absolutely and how do I know she doesn't have a dick? I've seen her in a bikini many times. There's nowhere to keep a dick, right? There's no, even a micro one such as mine. Okay, you couldn't even hide that in that bikini. And believe me, I've really been looking. I've really totally been looking. But this video is going to be about 7 hours long, probably. Yeah, but an hour 14, I was like, and then the other thing I like about Millie Gibson. Okay, the beginning of the new era presents many exciting opportunities. I was excited. Yeah, I think can you tell, boys and girls, the Rabbi was excited. Yes, I was excited. That's true. Exciting opportunities. Listen, I didn't have an exciting opportunity. Wish I did. But boy, I think the opportunity would be too exciting for me. I think I would just explode in I would literally, you know, when they stake a vampire in Buffy and they turn to dust, I would just explode in a ball of cum, and with an exciting opportunity with Millie Gibson. I wouldn't even get in the same country. I'd be like, it's too exciting. Including the introduction of new companion. November 18th saw the announcement of, that's the day after my dad's birthday, of blessed memory. Saw the announcement of Dr. Might have been a present from my dear old dad. Oh, Dad, you did us proud. Saw the announcement of the Doctor's next assistant, with Millie Gibson being revealed to be portraying Ruby Sunday. Her casting has led to some of the best Twitter reactions, but with the fans ecstatic by the actors hiring, most of them by me. Okay, most of them by me. Isn't it weird though, right? When it's a trans woman, which means a woman with a penis, who is an actress like Yasmin Finney, you must call them an actress. But when it's a woman with a vagina and it's a one that they were born with rather than they were, given at the age of 12, it's in a perfectly normal sex change operation on a minor. Nothing to see here. That's totally normal. I I just got lost. Somebody just mentioned vagina. I saw a picture of Millie Gibson. I lost my train of thought. What can I tell you? Oh yes, you have to call them an actor. Very, very strange. Following her role in Coronation Street, Millie Gibson promised to deliver an outstanding performance. Well, I agree with you there. I think she's going to be very good. I mean, listen, I keep perving on her that she's super hot. Because she is, I think she's going to be great in the role as well. I'm so excited to see the pair of them. I mean, really, the more I see of this era, the more excited I'm getting, right? And I noticed all the curmudgeon Americans, which are mainly Americans, are like, I'm going, no, it's never going to be good again. And look, I understand. We've all been hurt by this, mate. We've all been hurt, right? Even they're starting to melt a little bit now. They're like, Billy Gibson, tell me more. Her role as Kelly Nealon in the British soap opera demonstrated her potential as a dramatic actor, with the young Kelly troubled by her late father's shady past. I'll tell you, you're troubled by your late father's shady past. You don't want to check out your rabbi's shady past. It's rather shady. That's all I can tell you. It's rather shady. Not as shady as Gary's though. I've never done time. There we go. I'm so glad by the way, I was listening to Nerdrotic before he revealed that, right? I'm so glad he did, because I honestly, I think it just makes him seem so much a better person, right? To see, the growth of him through his life, right? It's really, really very impressive. Even the God! What? Even the Daleks delivered a fun Groundhog Day twist. It delivered retarded Daleks, is what it delivered. It delivered Daleks that couldn't open a storage room door. Are you out of your mind? It delivered... And again, if you or any of your family have actual genuine medical retardation, whatever it's called, right? And what I'm saying is offensive. I'm so not talking about... Like, honestly, I think Chris Rock makes a very, very good point that the word faggot is normally an insult for gay people. He says, no, it's not. You can be a faggot and be straight. And he gave an example. I'm like, oh, yeah. Of course, now I'm thinking of Timothy Dalton trying to get me to buy brains faggots. Oh, I've always wanted, like, they're not kosher, so I can never try them, but I love that ad. Brains faggots are apparently a Northern English meatball, from what I can tell. And Timothy Dalton used to do the voiceover for the commercial thing. Brains faggots. Just really leaning into it. Anyway, even the Daleks. Oh, God. Okay, the Groundhog Day twist was actually very good. See, it's long been my contention, right? It's long been my ongoing contention that when you run into trouble making TV, the solution normally gives you a better thing than you're planning to in the first place, or when you're making some kind of commercial art of any form. But the go-to example I use is Alan Moore. He did this comic book called Watchmen, which is very, very, very good. It was based on these other superheroes designed by this guy called something Charlton. They're called the Charlton Heroes, right? But then they were going to be used by DC for something else. So you had to make his own characters based on them. And that creative freedom just made it a lot better, right? It just made it so, I think one of the big failings of the Disney Marvel stuff is they just throw money at stuff. More money, put more money in. No, inventiveness. So Chris Chibnall, I think Chris Chibnall was fired and had his ass handed to him. He had a much more expensive Christmas special going. And then I think the budget was... He was given an extra episode, and I don't think he was given that much more money. And so they had to really, really slash the budget on the episode he was planning on doing. And so it was all set in a storage unit on a time loop. I thought that was actually quite good, right? The Dalek design was quite good. What was stupid about it? The Daleks not being able to open the bloody door. Also, it like had so many Chibnall tropes in it that was so stupid. It had who was it? It was the Roy Castle trick to destroy the Daleks. Everything Doctor Who and the Daleks, starring Roy Castle and Peter Cushing. So to stop the Daleks, Roy Castle has this great idea. Said, "Hey Daleks!" he says as they're all firing at each other. "Over here!" So all the Daleks turn around and go, "Oh, I better kill him. They all turn around, right? And they fired him. Yes, I'm going to get him. Right? The Daleks in that movie are actually played like angry children rather than like evil scientific geniuses in micro tanks, right? They're played by spoiled children. So he dives to the floor and they blow up the Dalek computer, which makes all the Daleks die, apparently, something like that. So they do that where who was it? Dan this time. He gets the Daleks to shoot each other, and he ducks, and they fight, and they blow each other up. That happens all the time. He's done that trope many, many times over. He also, another great Chibnall trope is bring back a character you couldn't give a shit about, couldn't remember, and you have no idea why he is for like a blink and miss it cameo. For some, like, as if anybody actually cares about this era. Nobody does, right? Nobody does. None of these characters were in any way interesting, and other than what the actor imbued into them. That's why what's his name, Graham, was the only really watchable character in the whole thing, because Bradley Walsh is a very personal person who's able to imbue character into something without any character whatsoever. I think Carvanista was actually quite a good character as well. I enjoyed him, right? Nobody else would. Like Vinda, Belle, Belle. God, it was also awful. Everything was her name Belle, the pregnant Asian woman. What's her name, Belle? I think so. I can't remember. The Daleks have appeared in some of Doctor Who's greatest stories, and even the Daleks, with the evil Pepper Pots terrorizing the Doctor during their many adventures. Eve of the Dalek is a perfect way to enjoy a perfectly enjoyable venture of the Daleks, delivering a fun Groundhog Day twist on a typical Dalek invasion story. Also, these Daleks were idiots and couldn't open a door with their special Dalek gum. Set on New Year's Eve, Eve of the Daleks, Creepy Nick. I forgot about Creepy Nick. Oh, and it's just weird. So much weird stuff in it. It's a deeply amusing episode. No. As the Doctor and her friends try to evade the Daleks while stuck in a time loop. Yeah, deeply. Okay, no, it's not. The Carling creatures, blimey, you went to Wikipedia for that, didn't you? The writers are at their most ferocious here. No, they're not. They couldn't shoot through a storage center door. As they exterminate the Time Runner buddies on numerous occasions, giving fans a wonderful New Year's treat. No, that's not a wonderful New Year's treat, right? A wonderful New Year's treat, Billy Gibson turning up at your door in a bikini in heels, okay? That's a wonderful New Year's treat. And again, don't do that, Millie. If you think you're doing it, don't. You'll kill me, right? You will absolutely kill. Do you want to see a rabbi explode into a ball of cum? That's what will happen, right? That's what will happen. And it's not going to be a little bit. It's just going to be everywhere. Right, there's going to be a lot of cleaning going on. And you're going to need hazmat overalls. It's going to be disgusting. So don't, Millie. I appreciate the thought. Don't get me up. My wife would be pissed off too. Okay, so all these reasons, don't do it. I'm only 3 in, and I'm like nearly 40 minutes in. Oh my god, multiple companions return. Okay. Actually, I have to say, Sophie Aldred was great. Her return was fantastic. Janet Fielding was, it was nice to see, what's her name, Bonnie Langford again. Couldn't care less about Kate Lethbridge-Stewart. And how, what's name showed up, Graham. Hi, I'm Graham, and we're in the middle of a volcano for some reason. You haven't seen it, you haven't missed anything. And of course, the wonderful Ian Chesterton showed up as well. Again, I don't think any of these were the real ones. I think these were fake duplicate versions of them from an alternate reality. An alternate false reality created by the toy maker or some such being. Where are we up to? So, multiple companions return. Doctor Who's companions are the heart of the sci-fi series. Sort of. I mean, there's a Doctor. You could say that. I think their relationship's really the heart of the sci-fi series. With viewers witnessing the travels through the eyes of the highly relatable individuals. Exactly. You think Yaz was highly relatable to anyone? She wasn't a human being, right? It was just like a weird plank of wood. who was the bestest ever at everything. Oh, God, she was awful. She was so awful. The power of the Doctor sees the first of the Time Lord's closest allies return. Sees a few of the Time Lord's closest allies giving one of the 22's biggest, best surprises. Yeah, listen, member bearers, it's the only thing they have they know will work, right? Among the famous characters come back for the 13th Swan Song by Jodie is Graham, who considered to be one of the best modern companions. No, Graham is considered to be the only watchable character from the Chibnall era. That's just, listen, if you just want to use the accurate term, that's what it is. But again, this is CBR, all right? The same people who called the 2022 election the safest and most securest and the freest and fairest of all time. The 2020 election, the safest and securest and freest and most fairest of all time, right? Yeah, okay. Specials will see the re-emergence of various classic series assistants, including Ace and Tegan, very good. Ian Chesterton. What about Bette and Mel? She's right here in front of you with the scenes. There's a satisfying callback to Doctor Who's far past. I mean, the whole the Tegan storyline didn't make any sense at all. Ace was actually pretty darn good. A groundbreaking Disney Plus deal was announced. Yeah, so a lot of people are not happy about this, right? Because Disney, normally when they get their hands on anything in genre, they go poo-poo on it, right? They turn it into unwatchable shit. They do. By the way, shall we go into how they do that, right? It's because corporations have this thing called ESG scores. ESG is basically how liberal, progressive, or if you like the term woke, how woke you are, right? And the higher your score, the more favorable rate you can get in business loans and things like that. So corporations have leaned heavily into ESG. Part of that is favoring women in hiring practices, especially for upper management. Now, the way men and women view self and reality is subtly different. Little girls like to imagine that they are the character they're playing, that they are, Princess Buttercup. Whatever. It's just always my go-to example. Whereas little boys want to imagine, they want to imagine that Princess Buttercup is them, right? So they can imprint Princess Buttercup on themselves on Princess Buttercup, right? So it's like they're taking a copy of themselves and putting it into the wet clay of the character they're playing. Whereas boys do the absolute opposite. Boys imprint the character on themselves. They become Han Solo. So you have the characters have very, very developed and obvious character traits. So we've seen this thing over and over again, that how can you relate to something if you can't see yourself in it? That, I think, is a very, very feminine worldview, right? I think it's a very feminine worldview, and I don't think it's a worldview held by the people who, generally speaking, like male-oriented brands like that Disney went out and bought because they didn't have any, like Marvel and Star Wars, right? But again, once you put a feminine worldview on those, you get what you get, which was a failing Star Wars and an absolutely failing MCU, right? They destroyed very, very, very successful franchises. So why am I terrified, right? So this sounds awful. Why am I not on board? Why am I on board for this? Because I think reality is slapping them in the face. Again, we're at the door of a recession. At the very least, I think we're at the door of a complete financial collapse, right? Well, it's going to take place over a number of years. But the idea of being able to make things that nobody wants and nobody's going to pay for is over, right? Look, that David Zaslav from Discovery went around getting rid of everything that didn't work at Warner Brothers. Huzzah for that! And getting rid. Same with Elon Musk. He says, if you want it, he took over Twitter. So if you're ready to work hard, stay here. And all the women left. So and now they're suing. This is literally what happened. He said, everybody willing to work hard and make this awesome, stay here. All the women left, and now they're suing him for firing all the women. They left! Right, they left because they couldn't come in at 4 and get they probably came in early, like 12, and get a mocha cappuccino, then go and meditate for an hour before having a meeting about how to suppress the speech of people who think that people with penises are normally men. All right, it seemed to me there wasn't such a high demand for that to make them profitable. Disney is not immune. Disney is in freefall. Disney, they fired their CEO on Sunday night. While it was at an Elton John concert, right? They are in freefall beyond freefall. Now, granted, the person they brought in is the architect behind all the things, but I just don't think they have the latitude to continue making stuff that doesn't work. So along comes Rusty Davis, right? Along comes Rusty Davis, and he says, I'm going to give you something that fits completely into what you want, and I'm going to make. And he says to himself, I'm going to make it what I want as well, right? So it's going. They have Yasmin Finney in it. They see Yasmin Finney. They go, yay! Oh yes, that's great. They see Shooting Gatwell. Oh look, he's not white. He's an immigrant. Oh, it's so good. Oh, let me touch myself in an inappropriate way. What Rusty Davis is doing, which I don't think anybody else has done in his position, is hiring on talent mainly first, also fitting into the tokenism, so that Disney want. However, Russell can't do tokenism because he writes characters, and I think these are going to be characters, and I think it's going to be exciting. I think it's going to work, and I think Disney needs it to work, right? So I'm actually on board for this. It's very good for me because I have Disney Plus here in Israel. I get it straight away with everybody else. So, I think the channel is going to be absolutely fantastic. And that's what I'm really hoping for. I hope they're going to have all classic, all new, all Torchwood, all Sarah Jane Adventures, and ongoing new content as well. I'm hoping Bad Wolf buys Big Finish and they renegotiate the contracts to do streaming. They launch Bad Wolf's audio streaming service, $2.99 a month, and they make a freaking fortune, right? That back catalogue they got is fantastic. Although Doctor Who is an iconic in the UK, its international presence is less well established. Yes, it's going to be huge, right? It's going to be absolutely huge. This is set to change with Rusty Davis' new era, which will see the show reach its biggest worldwide audience yet through a groundbreaking Disney Plus deal announced in 2022. That's what this article's about, right? Yes, we know it's now 2022. Disney's acquisition of the streaming rights will bring the program to over 100 million users across the world. So, I mean, honestly, let's say they charge £1 a month or $1 a month for Disney Plus. That's $100 million a month. You're saying you can't stretch that budget to make content work for you. $100 million income a month. No, not good enough. You've got to make that about 15 times more. Okay, I mean, like, what, there's about $10-15 a month? So that's what? What's 15? That's, okay, it's $1.5 billion they're making a month. A month. That seems like it might be a bit overpriced. I think all streaming services of that level should be $4.99 max, and that's more than enough. Additionally, the deal was rumoured to include several spin-offs surrounding the show's monsters, suggesting that 2022 announcement could lead to an ambitious shared Doctor Who universe. Yeah, look at Star Wars, look at Marvel, but hopefully don't look at their quality. Jodie's regeneration did her justice. No, it did. I mean, no, it didn't. No, it did. Nothing did her justice. She was shit. Right? The regeneration was more than she deserved. It was supposed to end on a cliffhanger. And it didn't, right? Because Rusty Davis came in and saved the day. Do it justice. The line, Doctor Whoever's next, it was good. I agree with that. I was happy to see it go. But the only thing people liked about it is when that awful Saguna and Kula music stopped. And David Tennant showed up, right? It was all fine. I'm not reading this. I've been going on for too long. I'm just going to go the headlines on the next four. Sacha Dhawan gave his best performance yet. Yes, he did, as it happens. I agree, right? I agree. And if it turns out that the entirety of this era has taken place in the toy maker's realm, right, in a facsimile of reality, they can still get Sacha Dhawan in and play the master. They say, toy maker based them on this master. I think, honestly, mastery plot and Yeah, I think it totally worked. Yeah. Master demonstrates his great comedic energy as he dances the Rasputin by Boney M. Yeah, I thought that was good. All right, I actually thought that was good. The more he was on screen, the better. The combination of Doctor Who's outfits that he wore, that Jodie Whittaker wore, was also kind of fun, right? It was, again, not good, but for this era, it is not so terrible. Yeah, there was amongst the best. David Tennant's regeneration twist shocked all fans. Why do you have to say all fans? You could have. I would have let you go if you said David Tennant's regeneration twist shocked fans. No, it didn't shock all fans. You blithering, knuckle-dragging moron. It didn't shock all bloody fans. No, it's... how? We knew he was coming back. They announced it, said David Tennant's coming back playing Doctor Who. Really? Yes, they announced it. I had hoped they were just going to regenerate onto a cliffhanger, and that will be done, and we're never going to speak of it again. I think Russell's retconning this nonsense away. I think he's fixing Doctor Who, right? I think he's going to fix Doctor Who. I'm really hoping for it. But it didn't shock anyone. But it changed everything. I mean, that's really the truth. It changed absolutely everything. Overnight, in that instant, in that millisecond, Doctor Who became exciting and interesting again. And we all saw, him recording for the 60th anniversary. We knew he was coming back. I mean, it didn't shock anyone. It shocked me how much it changed Doctor Who, how quickly, right? How much it recovered from Jodie Whittaker, how quickly. Which was a significant amount. So, okay, it shocked me there. We can agree. Classic series Doctor made a comeback. Yes, this is another reason why I like this episode. So this idea was... completely lifted from the Virgin New Adventures. Like, as with every Chibnall idea, it was stolen from somewhere because he doesn't have an original bone in his body. Honestly, Chris, mate, I don't know how you ended up as a writer because imagination isn't your friend. It's not your thing, mate. I don't know how that happened. It seems a bit odd to me, right? It does seem a bit odd. So in the Paul Cornell book Revelation, it was the fourth of the Virgin New Adventures. Time Wirren, it was like this villain that ate time or did something through time, and he had 4 books. So you had Genesis, it was by John Peel, who was a kind of big writer at the time in Doctor Who circles. Then you had Genesis, and it was Exodus, was by Terrance Dicks, and it was Terrance Dicks trying to be slightly more adult and not really working, but okay. Then you had, what was it? I can't remember what the third one. Revelation, I think, maybe. Anyway, so the last one was I can't remember now. It was Paul Cornell's one, and a lot of it took place in the mindscape of the Doctor, right? And you got to see what was going on inside his head, and there were previous incarnations there who defended his mind and had jobs there, which very, very similar idea to this. It was lovely to bring them back. I think it was a good organic way to bring them back. It was lovely to see Paul McGann again. They did say this is only his head, right? The body was somebody else's, and they kind of matted it onto him because he could only do his head. But it was lovely seeing Paul McGann again. It made everybody go, why can't we get a Paul McGann TV show? Maybe we can. Wouldn't that be great? Oh, just imagine. The actors said it was kind of stupid. Nobody had their lines. They didn't really know what was going on. It was a fun, nice cameo. This thing actually worked. The only thing that spoiled it was it kept being interjected with Jodie Whittaker. But other than that, I hated the Jodie Whittaker era. I think it was the opposite of Doctor Who. I want to give credit where credit is due, and I like that. I think it was good. So the number one reason 2021 rocks is, okay, a new Doctor was announced, and I wasn't sure about him at first, right? I trusted Russell T Davies. I genuinely trust Russell T Davies, right? And but he wasn't. I thought the Doctor was going to be black. I thought the Doctor was going to be a black man. I had Inari Douglas, is that his name? I had him down as the my number one pick, and then Fady, whatever his name was, from Class, who had a kind of a nice washboard abs going. He seemed he wanted a non-white sexy doctor, right? And Shooty Gatwa came in, and he said blew them away. So I've been watching him in his body language, and I couldn't really understand where they're going with it, right? Rusty Davis said, when he came in, I didn't know what to expect, and he saw it, and it blew him away. I think we got a teeny tiny glimpse of it with the two short videos they did with Billy Gibson. Everything leads back to Billy Gibson, but I think you got a really good idea of what he's going to be, which is very somewhat weird and flirty and asexual. Is how I think he's going to be weird, flirty, asexual, and sexy. That's the vibe I'm getting. I think he's a really interesting, intelligent, very physical, very different actor. I'm really excited to see what they're going to be doing, right? And I think probably by the time this video goes out, I'm thinking probably Wednesday. Although it's a bit. Here's the thing: I'm always reticent to put out videos that I like on Wednesday because Wednesday's when I get the least views, right? But it's probably going out Wednesday. But we're probably seeing him in costume, shooting stuff in public and in location filming. That's what Russell said. It's happening at the beginning of December. It's nearly not the beginning of December anymore, so it's got to be pretty soon. Probably by the time this video goes out, we're going to see him in costume. I'm very excited to see what's going to be. I get a feeling we're going to get a scarf. Right, he seems to like the scarf. I get the feeling we're going to get some kind of scarf. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't know what to expect. I'm just getting a vibe. It's going to be really, really cool. Right, I think I think it's going to be safe to be scared again, which is what I think Doctor Who should be, right? I mean, I watched, Weird Night last night. I'm recording this on Monday, December the 12th. So I was last night, December 11th. 2022, so you can look this up if you're watching in the future, or if you're one of the super evolved cockroaches that take over from humanity after we do destroy ourselves, and you're watching this. So I recorded. You can check this out. December 11th. I was watching the Robots of Death. Right, I was like. I was nearly ready to go to bed. I'm not going. I'll watch an episode of Doctor Who. I was going. Which one? I just watched Deadly Assassin. So I'm like, I'll go for a bit of Robots of Death. I like a bit of Robots. I nearly went Face Evil. Said, no, I'm going to go for a bit of Robots of Death. Turned it off. Got up to go to bed. Looked at my phone. I saw Chris Boucher had passed away. So, very, very sad. R.I.P. Chris Boucher. A real genuine talent, right? A real genuine talent. How did I get onto that from Robots of Death? I can't remember. Chris Boucher wrote Robots of Death. But if you didn't know, I'm sorry if I'm going too deep in law. He wrote Robots of Death. So there you go. The Shill media. They have sunglasses and they're only rose tinted, baby. I'm not even going to look into the stuff that's coming up in the future. I've got an hour. Tearing all this nonsense apart. Because you know what? It's call it a hobby. My name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.